rübergehen, da bezahle ich noch von dem Rasenmäher.
Ja, unser Nachbar ist komisch.
Der hat doch keinen Rasen.
So everybody is here who's going to be here. I hear that custom in Germany is to be 15 minutes before on time. Right? Used to be. So for those of you who don't know me, who have never met me, my name is Shawn Clement. I am a PGA teacher, Class A professional. I've been teaching this game now for 30 years. And I love it more every morning I get up, and I wanted to thank all of you for being such amazing hosts. Really enjoying the facility. It's a beautiful atmosphere. This is what golf is supposed to be like, so thank you very much. And you know, I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit of my wisdom and knowledge that I've acquired over the last few decades. I have the gray hairs to prove it. So the first thing that most people don't understand about golf clubs is that they are first and foremost designed to cut grass. Did you know? So this is a grass whip. It's something that is very popular in the U.S. They call them sling blades. In Canada, we call them grass whips. And this is before whippersnippers were designed, or lawnmowers. So when I'm cutting grass in my backyard, it would look like this. So it looks very similar to a golf swing, doesn't it? Now, the golf ball, we could easily say, is like a dandelion in disguise, or a nice flower, right? So I take, see the stem? So there's my dandelion. And you can see that the blade is in a perfect position to cut the dandelion stem. So I'm just going to go ahead and allow the sole of this to cut along the surface of the ground and cut through my stem. So notice now I can go to the market and I have a beautiful flower to bring to the market. I didn't damage the flower, right? My dandelion. Or I can just eat it. Right. So the golf ball is very much the same thing. Okay? So for those of you who have issues with contact, the first thing I recommend you do is you take the short tee, you put it in here. Now this golf club, first and foremost, the sole of this club has a sharpness to it. It's designed to cut the grass, first and foremost. When Steve Stricker changed sets of clubs 2 years ago, he was asked by Titleist, Steve, can you please play our new model? You know, we beg you, because we know you made change, but you're playing so well. If you could play with our new clubs, that would really help us out. So he says, well, let me try them first. And so he tries them. He says, yeah, I can play with these. He says, why was the decision so quick? He says, because they cut grass better. That was the determining factor, is because they cut grass better. So you come to the range here, and you got these wonderful mats and these wonderful tees, and I am picturing the sole of this club cutting through this black tee. So listen to the sound. Cut. 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 Hear that? So all I'm doing is I'm cutting that. Now when I put the ball on it, I put my club next to the ball, save a little bit of space between the club and the ball. And put your eyes on the grass in that space, and let your brain see you cutting through the dandelion stem. So the better quality the cut, the better quality the strike. So if the sole of the club cuts this tee nicely, well, I'm going to have amazing contact with the golf ball. Okay? So, as a fantastic exercise, you saw what I was doing with the grass whip, and that's why there are two edges to this. So when I'm cutting my grass, I can cut in both directions. I'm employable, no? I'd be a good employee. Perfect. All right. So if I do the same thing with my club, so I have 3 dandelions here. And I'm not a smart guy for letting this fall in the grass here. So I feel the grass, I let it cut. So my brain sees where the grass is being cut. Right? I see the blur cutting the grass.
Yeah, I know.
So from there, my brain says, well, you need to step about a little bit more. There we go, a little more. Cut. So all I'm doing is cutting dandelions. I don't see golf balls. So, yeah. I don't see golf balls. I see dandelions. So the better gardener you are, the better golfer you're going to be. Okay? So now which brings us, as far as the accuracy of the cut is concerned, because the control of the swing is none of your business. The more out of control you are with the swing, the better you're going to cut. So imagine I had one arm. Here's my one arm, and I'm cutting the grass. Notice it cuts exactly in the same place all the time. There's the center of this arc. See that? So I just let it cut. Am I in control right now or gravity? I can talk to you and this thing's still going. Now I want to cut some grass. Here's my lawnmower. All I have to do is walk around my yard now and I'm cutting grass. So as soon as I take both arms and put them together, take my grip, the center of the swing is called the sternal notch, where the 2 clavicles join the rib cage right there. So now if I just let it swing in both directions, well, the ball better be there. You notice it's always cutting in the same place? So it's like a ball on a string. There's the maximum of my string. And I bend forward so that this can cut. Which brings me to the question of, well, you hear a lot, keep your head down. Probably the worst tip in golf. Okay? Not probably, for sure. Because, you know, a very famous golfer in Canada, his name is George Knudsen, he's passed away a while ago. He says, you might as well just chop the head off, you don't need it. Because number 1, it thinks too much. And number 2, it has nothing to do with cutting grass. So if you look at the human structure, where everything swings from is the shoulders. So how do you bring the arm club unit to the ground? Well, you have to bend forward from the hips. So you're bending from here. The hip sockets are just below the tailbone. So I bend from the hips, and now I can get to the grass. Now you notice the sole of my club is not flat on the ground. It's not supposed to be. So when I swing, the sole of the club, what happens is, and this is a very stiff shaft, it's very dynamic. See how much it bends? So when the club stops coming down and starts going back up again, gravity is going to pull it forward. So it's going to come and sit itself down. So never try to keep your club flat, because you're going to end up here slapping at the ball. You come down to cut the grass. Now you can cut grass in both directions. You're going to have beautiful contact with the ball. Okay? So, I get into my posture and I allow it to cut grass. I see where it wants to cut. Bring the machine. Right? Do you see how I did that? So imagine I'm going bowling. Right? Here's the middle of, I'm on the left side of the bowling alley. You ready? Okay. So I won't throw it, don't worry. So here's my practice swing. There's my bowling ball, there's my practice swing. Now, I want to go to the center of the bowling alley. Do I do this? Wait, it's going to be really tough to keep it there, right? Or do I do this? There we go. Hi, how are you? There you go. Now I can make the same exact movement. So it's the same thing with the golf swing. Even in the short game, even in the putting, I see all too often somebody doing a practice swing here, and then they do this. How can you make the same motion? You can't. So, I see where gravity wants to put me. Bring that. And then I'm going to let gravity cut the grass. So, gravity cuts the grass, the ball goes in the air. Okay? So far so good?
Okay, du will not hit.
So now, one of the things that really gives golfers a lot of fits is when they try to control the swing too much. Okay? So I'm going to show you a really simple exercise you can do in your backyard while the steaks are cooking, right? So, and if you want to try it right here, this is how there's a wonderful way that your arm swing and body turn move together. So if I hold my arm out to my side and I just let it fall, you notice the arm just falls into my body, right? The arm has 360 degrees of range of motion. Pretty useless if there's an obstacle. So we bend forward and we let the arms hang in front, right? So I take my arm, bring it to my side, let it fall in front of me. It still can't swing, can it? The upper part of my rib cage is in the way of my upper arm, and if I swing hard, right? I don't want to hit myself. So here comes the arm. Now, we, as human beings on this planet, are gravity geniuses, right? How did you know when to close your hands? You made a prediction. Here comes the ball. You say, hey, gravity's going to do that. I need to open my hand and close it now. Go ahead. How'd you know it was that far?
Binocular vision, basically.
Well, you see where I am. You feel the weight of the ball. And because you're a gravity genius, you know exactly how much momentum to give it to get it to me. We can go weeks like this and never miss. Okay? So, if here comes the arm, don't let the arm hit me. All I got to do is keep turning my body and allow the arm to pass. That's it. So my body knows exactly how to coordinate that. So you notice when the body gets out of the way, right? So now if I take the ball and I know where you are, there it is, I'm going to let it fall towards you. So notice how my body turns out of the way. Now if I do the same toss and I don't move my body, oy. See what happens? That's what happens to golfers. The golfer sees the ball and says, hit the ball. The body does not move. So then the arms hit the body. And then as soon as the arms hit the body, they get diverted offline. See how that works? So you have some fun with your friends, you know, you get your kids in the backyard. Let's see you do one. So let the ball come to me. Brilliant, look at that. So a backswing is, ready? Perfect. Gravity genius. Okay? So notice how my body's out of the way. My arm can swing freely to you. Then, body out of the way, arm swing freely to you. So now let's go back to that grass whip for a second. You notice how easy it was for me before, right? So all you need to do is don't let the arms hit you in both directions. Left arm doesn't hit me, right arm doesn't hit me. Left arm doesn't hit me, right arm doesn't hit me. Out of the way, out of the way. And start walking. See how accurate that is? So now that I'm using momentum, I'm now starting to track like a ball on a string. You take a ball on a string and you twirl a tennis ball on a string. And you'll notice the tennis ball tracks like a rail around your hand. It's very accurate. So I do the same thing. This is the ball, the string, the attachment. Give it to gravity. Out of the way, 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 out of the way. Right? So you can see how putting together a golf swing, especially for beginners, I love beginners. They're fantastic because they're clean slates. And they're human beings. As long as they have 2 arms and 2 legs and they're insurable, I can teach them how to play golf. Because if they're insurable, that means they function. Okay? That's it. So now I show them here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut grass. And then we see what's in the way. And then we allow the body to glide out of the way and to cut grass with freedom. And then we put a ball on the tee. We allow them to cut the tee. Whoosh, ball goes in the air. Done. Jaw on the ground, big eyes. Wow, that's amazing. Okay? And then we go along our merry way. And then when we get to the longer clubs, well, the longer clubs are simply longer grass whips. So if I have a 3-iron in my hands, everybody's so afraid of 3-irons and 5-irons. What happens is, and this is, you know, a very, very key part of this clinic. Okay? We as human beings on this planet, we've been around this planet for about 4 million years. Okay? We are absolute rock stars with gravity. And we are the best survivors by far on this planet. We're amazing at surviving. So if I was skipping a stone on water, who's really good at skipping stones?
I am.
All right. In that direction? So let's see you skip a stone in this direction. So where did you let go of the stone? Where's your body facing? The pond. Where's your weight? Front leg. Everybody saw that, right? When did the weight get to the front leg?
I know it.
I know you know. Most people say, about when I'm letting go, because you don't have to think about that. So in actuality, the weight went to his front foot before he threw. Well before. Okay? So let's say I go back 10,000 years, and the population of the planet is very low, and I break my leg. My life's over. Right? Today, just call the ambulance. Hey, order me a pizza. Life is good. No problem. Sign my cast. It's so much fun. I broke my leg. Look, it's funny. Not back then. It wasn't very funny. So our body has this amazing ability to keep you healthy. So the first thing that happens is the body goes to the ground to stabilize the platform so you don't twist an ankle or break a leg. Then it uses the ground to remove your body out of the way. Why? You have only 20 degrees of range of motion in the shoulders. That's all you got. So if the body doesn't turn out of the way, ow, sucks, right? So when I'm skipping the stone, brain goes, then it uses the ground to get my body out of the way. In martial arts, we call this a retraction. Anybody do any martial arts? Nobody does any karate and no kids? Come on, right? So come back here, Marcus.
Don't hit me.
No, I'm going to let you. So fighting position. So I want you to take your right hand, in slow motion, snap a punch here. What went first? Did you guys see that? The first thing that goes, he goes into his front leg. Now the brain can use the ground to remove his body out of the way. Snap one nice one now. Look at that. There's that retraction. Okay? So whether I'm throwing, if you watch baseball, next time you watch baseball, you have something fun to watch. You'll see the pitcher go to the ground, use the ground to get his body out of the way, then he can catapult that ball into home plate. You watch a baseball hitter, you'll see exactly the same thing. Waiting for the pitch, boom. Use the ground to remove the body out of the way so he can come through and out into the field. It was the same thing in golf. The problem is, most golfers, they're looking at the ball, right? So you saw Marcus before. He was skipping a stone out there, everything was facing here. Well, what if I try to throw my stone into the ball? I don't want it to move very far, do I? Notice how I'm facing my target? So why would I plant my weight here, use my leg to move my body out of the way to go there if that's my target? Now my shoulder only has 20 degrees. I can't reach back. It's over. This is much worse. So where should I focus? Well, if I'm cutting through a dandelion stem, the brain says, that's going to continue through. So the brain goes to the ground, uses the ground to get the body out of the way so I can cut through the dandelion stem. So you'll notice that your body action is going to be a lot more natural, and you're going to clear the hips and shift your weight so much better when your attention is through the ball and out towards something. So I'm just going to cut my stem in a specific direction. So let's say I want to go to that telephone pole. I'm going to use that little piece of wood in front as an intermediate point, and I'm just going to cut my dandelion stem to the left edge of that. So I have a direction for my cut. I see the stem, and I'm going to feel a nice whipping action through the stem in that direction. So then I get to see what happens after. So I notice my ball just went a little out to the right. So do that again. There's the direction. There's my dandelion stem. I'm going to feel a nice whipping cut through the stem in that direction. So a little higher, a little less right. So things are starting to pick up. So I stay with my task, right? I see the stem, cut through the stem, see what happens. And you'll notice then there's going to be a nice evolution that starts to occur. But most people go, I missed the ball. Why? Maybe it was because of this, maybe it was because of that, and they start thinking too much about what could have gone wrong. You can't do anything wrong. Isn't that amazing? This is super important, you guys. You can't do anything wrong. You're just following upper management. Upper management says hit the ball, no problem. Yeah, but I don't want that. Okay, let's just change the focus. Let's go out there, cut through the dandelion stem. Almost. Now, the last thing is as far as the strain is concerned. So while I'm here and I'm talking, I'm being a little distracted. I just noticed when I swung through that stem, I went at it a little too harshly. So when I'm cutting grass with my grass whip, or another great exercise is, imagine this is a sword, and I'm going to use the sword to cut through an imaginary small sapling, right? So imagine I had to do this for 8 hours today. Would I, or would I, I want to feel that I'm doing that with ease. So when I'm cutting through that dandelion stem, I want to feel like I'm using the weight of the sword to deliver through that cut. So I gather, and I use the weight of the sword. Now that was a lot more different, wasn't it? That was way less effort and way more powerful. So I had a nice efficiency in the way I was able to sling that sword, or that grass whip, or that golf club. Okay? So my task is, I'm cutting a dandelion stem in that direction with ease and a nice velocity, and then I just make an observation. Say, hey, did I do my job or not? And most of you at first are going to go, oh, I wasn't cutting a stem, I was trying to hit the ball. Because the brain sees the ball and says, hey, ball, make sure you don't miss that ball. It's so embarrassing. Be careful, right? So then all of a sudden the body freezes. It's like, imagine an architect, and he's got this table in front of him, this design table, and he wants to make a very precise drawing. He's going to freeze his body so he can be very accurate with that drawing. But imagine a lumberjack now. You guys have beautiful forests here, by the way. So if I'm a lumberjack and I have my axe, so I feel the weight of my axe and I'm getting ready to deliver the axe to the side of the tree, would I ever heave the axe this way? Never. I would take out my Achilles tendon. I'm a not very good shape in the bush. So would I heave the axe away from me? No, now I just took out my left ankle. Not good either. Would I heave the axe upwards? Well, now I'm just shaving bark down the tree into the ground. I'm not going to get much work done. There's only one place I can heave the axe. right there. Now notice my body had to move. Because if my body doesn't move, I just knock myself out. So I heave the axe, the body clears, gets out of the way, and now I'm just going to use the weight of the axe to deliver the blow. There's my axe. So you see that nice change of direction at the top of the swing? Here's me not interfering with the change of direction. See that? This is what you see most golfers do. Mine, 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 mine. This is, now I'm letting the instrument do the work. So back to my axe. Feel the weight of the axe. Heave it. Let the weight of the axe do the work. So I do that with just a hair less strain. Boom. So I can't do it any better than that with a 7-iron. Okay? So you see how I'm really using the weight of my instrument. We're amazing. Whether I teach you how to chop a tree with an axe, or how to cut a dandelion stem with a golf club, or how to cut grass with a grass whip, I would be teaching you the same stuff. Because it's still the same individual, the same rules of the planet, slightly different instrument. Make sense? Any questions?
For an exercise like that, would you always do it off the tee, or can you do it off the ground?
Oh, you can do it off the ground, yeah. So you remember me cutting my dandelions before?
Right.
Yeah. So if you mean with the axe?
Yeah, the actual.
Oh, absolutely, on the ground. So I feel the grass underneath the sole of the club, use the weight, and I'm cutting through the dandelion stem with the weight of my axe. Okay?
For the right hand, it's the left knee, for me the right knee. If I go out of the way, I have to, the tendency to do that.
Straighten?
Straighten, yeah, because if you hit the tree or something, to straighten it. And if I try to do so, it just worked. It didn't work, If I have, what's the right position?
You have a defective knee?
Oh no, it's okay.
Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
No, it's okay.
I'm having fun with you. So it's not about the body part.
Okay.
It's about the task that allows the body to move as a unit, right? So if you're thinking about the knee, then what's happening with the task, right? So we're not puppets. So a really good exercise as far as feeling what the lower body should be doing. Now you guys remember when I was doing the grass whip and I was walking and swinging at the same time? Okay? So you'll notice if I walk and swing, which is probably the best exercise that you can do, when my arms pass, the weight of my arm, so one arm is 9% of my body weight, times 2 plus a club, for a 200-pound person, that's 40 pounds. You guys are in, sorry, kilograms. We haven't transferred all the way through the metric system in Canada yet. We're a little stupid. Okay? So I have a certain weight with my arms. So I allow the weight of my arms to swing. So when my arms are on this side, I have now shifted more weight on my right leg. I don't have to think about shifting weight. It happens. Right? So now, as I swing through, the weight is now off my right side. I can now take a step. Now the whole backswing is supported under my right foot, and everything comes back here, and now from there, the left side unweights, and I can take a step. So you notice as I'm walking towards you, you'll never see me walk like this. I don't go outside my feet when I walk. My center of gravity is right here, staying inside my feet. And that's how I'm built. So if I walk and swing at the same time, imagine my chest as the head of an elephant. I call this the elephant walk. Here's my trunk. Here's my front legs. So when you watch an elephant walk, literally this is what it does. The trunk swings. Step, swing, step, swing, step, swing, step, swing, step, swing, step, swing. So if I add a little range of motion to that, step, swing. step, swing. So notice I can't sway. And notice I will never hyperextend. I'll trip all over myself and the walk is over. Right? So you'll notice your brain, which can coordinate 12, count them, 12 million things per second. Right? Your thinking process works between 5 and 40 things per second. I don't know who can do 40 things per second. The other guy's a genius, or a girl, right? Probably a girl, because not a guy. I can do about five, you know, within a second I can go through 5 things, but I have to be really sharp. So could you imagine having to think about all these body parts within a second and a half of a golf swing? It is literally impossible. There's no way around it. You can't do it that way. Change the way, because that way doesn't work. Okay, and it's been proven by so many scientific bodies on how we learn motor skills. They said, with a dart team, this is great. Took a dart team and said, okay, you guys focus on the bullseye and just focus on hitting the bullseye. And then you guys, make sure you always make the same movement of the arm. Make sure you have the same angle. Make sure your bicep is firing the same way. Everybody's over here and they're missing the board. Right? And the other ones are getting really good and they're hitting the bullseye. We don't work. We're not puppets. So as you perform this walk, pay attention to what your lead knee is doing as you're walking. And you're going, wow, that feels pretty good. Feels very balanced. Because if you lost your balance, you would interrupt the walk. So if you're in balance and you're letting the arm swing, well, guarantee the brain knows how to predict to put a ball in the way. So if I bend forward a little more, cut the grass a little more. So this is very difficult to miss the ball when I'm cutting dandelions. So if this cuts grass, ball always meets the club face. But it's very, very easy to mess up a golf shot when your focus is only on the ball, right? You're going to ping it, be careful, watch out, don't miss the ball. That's when you usually have a lot of trouble with golf. Any other questions? That was a good question.
Everybody would be interested to see a driver, high thoughts, drive,
No
left-handed.
Sure. So, you guys noticed it's getting so tacky and humid. The whole feel from the morning's changing. So you notice when you're dealing with cutting grass in both directions. So that's what's fun about it's plugins. So my right-handed follow-through is my left-handed backswing. And my right-handed backswing is my left-handed follow-through. So if you look at my bag, half of my clubs are left-handed. All my even irons are left-handed, and my odd irons are, so 3, 5, 7, 9 is right-handed, 4, 6, 8 pitching wedge is left-handed. So same distance, same trajectory. I see a dandelion stem, gather, cut through the dandelion stem. That's my 8 iron. So about 165 meters with the 8 iron. So you can see how when you're focused on the right task, it's easy to evolve. And if you were to say, okay, and this is a very liberating statement that you're going to enjoy here. In one of the studies that they did on human motor skill learning, they put the human brain under a PET scan, PET scan, to see what parts of the brain would light up when they were performing a task. Now, because they were all wired, they could only do a very short motion. And the motion they did was a golf putt. And so they took a pro and an amateur just to make sure that it was a proper, test, and they made him do a short putt. So they noticed that the brain scans were very similar, one to the next. The pros was just a little bit more funneled, so the same parts of the brain were lighting up. And then they noticed, well, wait a second, didn't the pro just sink 21, 22, 25 putts in a row? How come the brain scans are all slightly different? Not one was identical to the next. It was the same areas of the brain that were lighting up, but not exactly the same parts of the brain. So what does that tell you? We are built for adaptation. We are built to adapt. We are deathly allergic to repetition. Literally. So imagine, I'm going to practice my walk. And I'm going to practice my walk on a nice flat surface. And then I have the misfortune of locking it in. So I walk, I'm going, there, that's the perfect stride. Lock it in, done. How do I get out of here now? How do I get off the step? How do I climb the mountain? How do I go to my house? It's over. I'm stuck here forever. Okay? Unless somebody comes to pick me up. So when I'm doing a putt, the last thing I want to do is practice to make a putting stroke identical all the time. Your brain hates that. So what I want to practice is my process. I want to repeat the process. So my job is to cut a dandelion stem. Where do I want to go? All at 150, sounds good. So I got my spot right here in front of the ball. I see my dandelion stem. I'm going to let my club, my sword, cut through the dandelion stem. I like it. So, cut it through the stem. I'm hitting the center of my club face. Everything's fine. See how that works? So that was really important to understand. And that was 7 years ago when I saw that study. It freed me and my students. Now they don't have to worry about it. So what happens, you go, okay, cut the stem. Yeah, but I hit it thin. And it didn't go in the direction I wanted. Maybe it's because this was wrong, or this was wrong, or this was wrong. And then you start thinking about, what did I do wrong? Well, even if I put you on video, and I was able to dissect exactly what you did wrong, the very next swing is going to be slightly different. So what's the point? It's a waste of time. So if I go in the bush with an axe, and I take the axe to the side of the tree, bang. I didn't hit the specific spot I wanted to. There must be something wrong. You just put the axe back again and go. And after a month of doing that, then you go, well, I can carve anything out of that tree, no problem. You become an expert at the task. Yeah. So, yeah. So, as a fairway wood, when you take a fairway wood or a hybrid, all it is just a wider blade. So when the blade comes through, it deflects. So you notice this blade here is relatively wide, right? Just so it doesn't dig in the ground. So it's got a specific width. And it was designed and said, okay, let's design, and then they put one narrower, they put one thicker, and then they go, yeah, this is the right width, and this is the right position, so I can make a nice cut. So this is a very nice tool. So I take this one, all I got to do is use the same thing. So my eyes are between the club and the ball. Now when I cut the grass, listen to the sound. Hear that? So it's more of a deflection. I'm hearing, I'm feeling, and I'm seeing the cut through that dandelion stem. So little left edge of that. So a nice whipping cut. So I whip through the cut, the ball meets the club face, and off we go. Okay? Yeah. So the only difference now with the driver is when I put the ball on a higher tee, take this tee back out, I put the longer dandelion stem back in. Here we go. So as a good practice tool, the only difference with the driver is I want to catch the ball, or catch the tip of the tee, cut the dandelion stem on the way up. That's what this is designed to do. That's why the club head is much higher, club face. And so I'm using the sole of the club to just clip the very tip of the tee. So this is what's fun about the rubber tees like this. You do your practice swings. So you remember the ball in a string? So all I'm doing is letting that ball on this string cut through the tee. So notice it's not me placing, it's gravity taking control from me. And I'm letting gravity make a nice arc, a nice circle, and then all I got to do is figure out, well, where do I need to put myself? Well, I see the blur of the club, and I can see it's passing a little too far away. Get closer. Yeah, now I can see the blur is passing too close. Get farther. Hey, we're in business. There we go. So now, put my dandelion on, give myself a direction. Gonna go left edge of the post. I see the dandelion stem in my mind. I feel that gravity already is tracking my circle. So my eyes right now are on the tee, not on the ball, on the back of the tee. And I'm feeling that the sole of the club is in a great position to clip the tip of the tee on the way up. Now just give it to gravity. So I let gravity take it, and off it goes. So, and I look at my direction, and it tells me that the path that I used was a little too much. There we go. So you can see, if I cut the tee here, the ball is going to hit here. Okay, that one I caught just a hair off the toe. So, can you see that? So I'm looking for cutting the tee here. If I cut the tee at the bottom here, the ball meets here. Right? Cut the tee, ball goes there. Right? See that print? Right? So in order for the ball to hit here, I just need to use the bottom of the club to cut through that tee. Okay? Try one more. See if I can get that to stay right over the post. I can't hit any better than that. That was deep. So that was dead center in the club face. I just stayed with, I see my stem, give my control to gravity. Yes, gravity is controlling that. What's really cool is when gravity takes over, you can't stop it. It's tracking. So I just give it. How do you stop it? You can't. But if you're controlling, then you've got no velocity, no power, and I just split a rib. Right? Whereas this feels like so easy to produce that kind of power. So I'm using the weight of my instrument. Make sense? Cool. Everybody happy? Yes. So if you want to see more of my stuff, just go to Wisdom in Golf. Just Google Wisdom in Golf, and they'll take you to my videos on YouTube. And just type in whatever subject you want. Say sand traps, bunker shots, Shawn Clement, or driver Shawn Clement, or putting Shawn Clement. We've really done our homework. So we understand how the anatomy works, we understand how the brain works, we understand how evolution works, so that you never fight what you're built to do. And that's really important, especially in this game. This can be a very frustrating game. But as you can see, it can be a blast. It's so much fun. Okay? Like I'm sure some of you have experienced today, some amazing shots, you know, the students that have been here. And now they have their mission, they know what they need to work on, and they're going to stay on their task. And in a couple of months from now, they'll report back and say, hey, this is working great, or I'm still struggling a bit. And then I get to ask them with that feedback, okay, what have you been focusing on? Oh, the ball. Okay. Now you know why, right? So thanks again for letting me come. Hope we can do it again sometime.
Yeah.
We're here.
All right, cool. Sure, no problem. You gonna send it to Mike?